from the Funkytown Network. Sponsored by Leaves Book and Tea Shop.
All right, welcome to Articulation, a show for artists and art lovers alike. On my left, I have my wonderful co-host.
Good evening.
Matt Zach. Say hey.
I just did.
Say hey again, bro.
Again?
No, you don't have to say hey.
Thank you.
Okay, and on my right, I have
Mica. Here we go.
all right, of Darkhaus Art, and then we have Mike. Yeah, hey
the
Mike.
one and only Morph Mohawk in the house.
Yeah, of Art 30 Texas. All right. So if you guys haven't guessed, the show is running slightly in a unique direction. We've chosen a different way from the pirate, and not to undermine what the pirate was trying to do, but it is very difficult for people to tune into a radio show and at a very specific time every single day versus a podcast that they can just, click and listen to. So, thank you to the pirate for everything you've done. Thank you to Sally and John Rohde. You guys are doing a great service for Fort Worth, and we respect you guys. Thank you so much. All right. So, Mica,
What's up?
why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do?
So I pretty much do a little bit of everything. If it's creative, I probably dip my hand into it. But typically, painting and drawing, and sometimes stuff with glass when I can.
Nice.
But I'm a student up at UTA, just graduated. So
you're a pretty versatile artist then.
yep.
Nice. And Mike, tell us a little bit about what you do.
I just paint.
What do you paint?
Paint everything. Paint. My standard line is guitars, bars, cigars, and cars. But if it interests me, if I've done it, I paint it. That's pretty much my art life. In real life, I'm an IT guy.
Nice.
Balance it.
So it's a fun balance, isn't it?
Well, one pays the bills and one's fun.
Yeah. Right? And Matt, you're my co-host, but what do you do?
What do I do?
Yeah, they may not know. Let's talk about it.
I hang around at bus stops, street corners,
So
things
what,
like that.
what art do you
I saw you.
create?
Oh, art! You saw me once?
I think so.
Okay.
I think I did not give you a 20, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, the bank wouldn't take it, but
Well,
you're an artist.
funny
and you're,
money.
Well, it
I probably
was,
painted it.
I enjoyed it. Anyway, what I do for art. Let's see. I do paint. Mm-hmm. I also make things out of found objects. Stuff I pick up out of the trash, and I make sculptures out of that.
Which is wonderful. I mean, that's a great use of materials, wouldn't you say?
They could go a lot of different ways, but yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
All right. Well, so basically, today's show is a little interesting. The Fort Worth Community Arts Center just held a show called The Collective Takeover, right? And this is something that you and I, Matt, we've both talked about a lot on this show, is getting the different collectives together and trying to bridge the gaps between them. Mm-hmm. Well, that actually happened. The Fort Worth Community Arts Center hosted 9 collectives. Hundreds of artists joined together, and they showed their work together in different places around the Community Arts Center, and all of them showed up, from what I understand, on the opening reception night. So that show, if you guys get a chance to go see it, to all of us who are tuning in today, that is going on. December 6th was the opening reception, and the show is ongoing through December 28th. And it'll stop shortly before the new year hits. So
Where's it at?
it's over at the Fort Worth Community Arts Center.
Okay.
And if you don't want to pay $10 for parking, park and walk there. Just
Park
throwing
where?
that out there. Park somewhere away from it and walk there,
Or
preferably
just
at the
take an
Kimball.
Uber. You know,
Or just take an Uber. Yeah, that works too.
You could also ride the bus.
Hey, that's right. Downtown there is transportation. In Keller there's not.
No buses where I live.
No buses. So, all right. So, Mica, I wanted to talk a little bit more as well about some of the glass work you've been doing and some of the classes you've been teaching. So,
Yeah.
go ahead and tell us a bit more about that.
For the past few months, I would say this semester, I was studying, pigments and paint. And of course, combining that with my glass work, but also extrapolating from that and looking at the historical sources of where our paint comes from. And with the classes, I think it's a great way to connect to the environment around us, because there's a lot of things that we can use and incorporate into our work. And, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's wonderful to actually know where the paint you're using originates, because it tells you a lot about not only the chemistry of the paint, but how you can use it, where you can work it into, what other mediums you can combine it with. So I agree. I think that's awesome that you're going out. There's not many artists who are doing that. So, I mean, there's one other one that I know of, and that's it. So,
Is glass your full-time?
No, it's one of those things when I can. I'm trying to get a lamp working setup, and do borosilicate stuff.
Do what?
Lamp working setup. So that's typically stuff you do with like a little torch.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more accessible than doing like, if you've seen the glass studio at UTA, they have the big old furnace, or Seneca.
Yes.
They have that big old
yes.
furnace.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lovely facility, and the people at Seneca are great. They're actually alumni from UTA's glass program. So
they just did their tree lighting recently,
Yes.
didn't they? How was that? Did you go to that?
I wanted to go, but I didn't get the chance to get out that way.
See, I didn't make it over there either. I had so much going on that night, but I heard from a couple of friends of mine that it was a really interesting setup that they did. And when I say tree lighting, it's like they make basically a glass tree.
They set it
in
on
front
fire?
of you. No, kind of.
That would be cool.
So it's like fire and glass at the same time. It's wonderful.
Getting back to lamp work.
Yeah.
Can you describe that specifically?
So typically, lamp working, it's literally a torch setup. Typically, it's propane and oxygen. Sometimes there's a acetylene, it's very similar to kind of, I guess, similar stuff to when you're doing welding. But it's typically clamped to a table, and instead of using those big steel rods, you have these rods of glass, and you're working with it in front of this tiny flame. So everything's smaller in scale. So with working with soft glass and a hot shop setup, you're constantly rotating the steel rod that you're using to keep the center of gravity. With this, you're usually at a bench, you're sitting, and it's right here in front of you, and you adjust the flame.
So this is something you could do at home.
Yes, which is why I
Wow.
want to invest in it and have it set up. Way less expensive to get set up. So
Really, I didn't think that was something that would be necessarily easy to do at home, but
yeah,
hearing
definitely
you
need
describe it,
instruction.
it's interesting. It's like I could totally do a setup with just a steel plate, underneath somewhere in my garage and do it that way.
Yeah,
Interesting. Big water trough to see if I could crack it. I don't know.
definitely safety considerations and stuff, of course, when you're having
Certainly.
a source of fuel and fire. But yeah.
Oh yeah. So Mike, have you ever done any multimedia work or any different work with different mediums before?
Yeah, I've used different materials.
What kinds of materials?
Magazines, bottle caps. I had a collection of bottle caps, but got rid of most of them recently.
Wow.
That's pretty much it, I think.
Pretty much it.
Yeah.
So
bottle caps are fun to work with, but they're
Yeah.
kind of a pain
Yeah.
because you got to make sure. Because I use resin on top of it, so you got to make sure that they're all glued down. Use hot glue, and you burn your fingers, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's not fun when you burn your fingers.
No,
right,
that
Matt?
costs a little. But
Lord.
that's the multimedia part
Multimedia.
of what I've done. I do a lot of digital stuff. When I had my knee replaced, I sat on the couch and drew on my iPad, painted.
Oh yeah.
There's some really great programs out there. Problem is, you can't really put them on canvas. I mean, you can print them, but they don't look
Yeah.
the same.
They look digital even when they're placed on a
Yeah.
printed canvas. So yeah.
Could you create something digitally and then,
Paint it.
yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
I use my computer a lot.
Okay.
That's my point of reference when I paint.
mm-hmm.
Unless I'm painting out on the beach, because when I take a trip, I usually take my stuff and I'll sit up on a beach and paint whatever I see.
But you'll use the digital image as a reference point
Yeah.
to make a painting on canvas.
Lots of times, yeah.
Okay.
Pet portraits, all that.
Heck yeah.
I'll throw them into Photoshop and actually correct them because, they need more contrast, they need more light, they need more dark. So
Well,
I'll throw them in Photoshop and do that before I actually use them as a reference.
Okay, now you will leave all the pimples, blemishes, scars, tattoos. You'll leave all that on there, yeah?
Sure, tattoos.
All right.
Have you
I don't
ever
go in and
tattooed
photo-
a dog, Matt?
Tattooed a dog?
No, don't tattoo a dog.
No,
Make
I would,
everybody
not
sad.
without their consent.
Right. It's
At least 18 and
that
dog
actually
years.
kind of
Yes,
they have
yes.
to be at least.
How would a dog give
18 dog
consent?
years.
Would they lick your hand or what? How would that work?
Usually the dogs get an attorney.
Oh no!
Let's not
it's
talk
funny
about
that
attorneys
it's
right
funny
now.
that you say that because I recall Rebecca having a conversation with Rebecca Lau. I know
Yes.
she's a friend of yours.
Yes.
She was telling me how she started her studio over off of Camp Bowie was she had a conversation with her dog, and her dog told her to do it, and I was like, hell yeah,
Absolutely.
Sometimes
I get in
you
trouble when
got
my
to
dog
talk to
tells
your
me to
pooch
do
about it.
stuff. Apparently, you're not supposed to pee on the hydrant the same way a dog
Oh
does.
yeah, no.
Well, not the exact same way.
Could pee on a fire hydrant be art?
Certainly.
It could be a statement.
It could definitely be a statement piece.
It could.
Could it be made out of glass?
Probably. Yes.
Okay, we're getting all off the rails here. All right. So speaking of glass work, I wanted to cover something. So Clifton Crawford of Sanaka Studios, he recently was awarded a sum of money to create a very large public art piece. It's going to be a large movable glass piece, from what I understand. And he's actually asking people to go to his website. It's Clifton Crawford Studios. That's Clifton Crawford, CROFFORD Studios.com, and participate in a survey. And it's basically a survey about public art to give him an idea of what the public is actually looking for. Because he's been commissioned this piece, but he doesn't know where it's going yet.
I think it should be like a big cigar.
Just a big cigar, a
That'd
big
be awesome.
smoking, smoldering cigar.
People could sit on it, lay on it, take pictures with it.
Maybe. I mean, it could be anything really, but it's just interesting that an artist, a local artist at that, who runs a nonprofit, has been awarded that money to do something good in the community. So, what do you guys think that says about the direction that the arts are going here in Fort Worth?
I think it's important that artists take matters into their own hands. Instead of waiting for government to do something,
Agreed.
we started on our own. Certainly welcome government's involvement and appreciation for what we're doing.
Right.
But it is up to us to initiate what these things happen.
Right. So, like, he actually, I believe he approached the Arts Council to get that pushed through. So,
Okay.
like, he wanted to do it, but he approached them with the idea, just to see, and of course it happened. So,
Excellent.
I think that says something to Fort Worth in general, that maybe they're becoming a little more supportive of local artists, and maybe they're gearing their directions to help us have an easier time creating.
An outlet.
An outlet,
That
yeah.
pays.
That
That's
pays,
important.
right.
Yes, that is important that it pays, because artists, we are professionals as any other profession, and we
Yeah.
deserve to be paid.
Paint
do.
ain't cheap.
It's not
No,
cheap.
materials are not cheap.
And if you take one of my Mica's classes, you're gonna. I'm sorry, I've been calling you the same thing for a while. If you take one of Mica's classes, he'll describe to you exactly how that paint is made and why paint is so expensive. So it's good that Fort Worth is taking initiative in that way. So if you guys get a chance, to all those who are listening, make sure you visit Clifton's website. It's CliftonCrawfordStudios.com. That's Clifton with one F. I would spell it out again, but I feel like my mouth is going to be in a jumble if I do that. And just go to his website and make your opinion known. Go through the survey. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good start. Let's see here. So Matt,
Yes.
let's go ahead and talk about what's been going on at the Grackle lately.
Let's see. At the Grackle lately, we've had a art market a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, tell us about that.
We had about 15 artists that showed up and participated, displayed their work, and of course sold work on their own.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it was a good time.
Heck yeah, it was. Heck yeah.
We had some music there as well.
Yeah, several musicians showed up, and
Daryl
including,
Sellers was there. This guy,
Matthew Broyles of the Matthew
Matt
Show,
Broyles
was there.
Absolutely. It was a good time.
Yeah, I
And
had quite a few people by for me. I was also set up there right
Yeah.
across from Aaron Hutz. Yeah.
That's right, you were. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And we have some events coming up at the Grackle. Let's see. On the 27th, we have a Grackle Live. Ralph White and Darren Kobadich will be playing. And then on January 11, Michael Epinet will be putting on a music and visual art show.
Okay.
On January 17, we will have Jean Caffeine.
Wow.
She is a punk rocker, and she will be playing. And then on January 18, Mica Enriquez will be having a class.
Yep.
And I'll ask you about that in just a minute. And then I believe that's it. Yeah. Okay. So, Mica, what are you going to be doing on the 18th of January?
So I'm going to be explaining the process, well, the components of pigments, which is basically, when it comes down to it, what creates the color in paint. And sources that you can find. It's going to be mineral-based pigments. And I'm going to go through the process of finding those, processing it and into a usable form, and then turning it into paint.
Hey,
How do
that'll be fun.
Sorry to interrupt. How do you go through the process of finding those materials? Like, what are the things that you do to go get those?
So one of the first things is, I guess there's an element of curiosity. You see something that's a pretty color in the natural world and like, can I use that? And then you go from there.
Right, right.
But
I know you don't want to reveal maybe too much until somebody takes the class, but
Yeah.
it is a really interesting subject. So like basically you can use almost any material, almost, if it can be ground up, right?
if it can, well, then you get into with pigments, you do have things that are more fugitive, things that stay and things that don't stay as well. So like a lot of plant-based colors, they'll fade pretty quickly, or they'll change color and oxidize. And like if you have, like, say you spill something with like pesto sauce on, just as an example of a green, or tomato sauce on your counter, it doesn't stay that bright red or bright green. After a while it darkens. So the same thing with like any other kind of plant that you'd find. So I chose mineral pigments in this instance because the pigment is stable, it's not going to fade, and it's more resistance to UV rays and all sorts of stuff. But yeah.
Neat.
Interesting.
That's going to be fun.
That's gonna be
let's see. I wanted to say one more time. On December 27, Ralph White and Darren Kobadich will be playing.
Nice.
And then January 11 will be Michael Epinet's show. January 17, Jean Caffeine. And then on the 18th, Mica Enriquez.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm looking forward to this.
I think I might want to go to that class. I feel like I'd probably learn a lot about the process of paint, and as me and Mike know, it's always good to learn how other people create. So
And you've posted these events on the
Yes.
Good, so people know the address and where to go and how to get there.
Yes,
All that
absolutely.
good stuff. Excellent.
Absolutely. So to find out more information about those events, you'll go to our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/articulationpirate. They will all be posted up and set up in our events section. So Mike, what about some things that are going on for Art 30?
Well, let's see. We have 4 classes coming up that I know of. One's on December 22nd at Shipping and Receiving.
Yep.
That's at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, that's
It's a really
this
cool
week.
painting that Trista just created for us.
Yeah, Jack and Sally, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, Jack and Sally, Nightmare Before Christmas. You got to come. It's a great painting. Everybody loves it.
Yep.
And we're going to do the same painting again on the 27th at the cidery, Locust Cider
Get
Cidery.
a lot of chances.
That's almost a tongue twister right there.
Locust Cider. on the
Locust
27th.
Cider Cidery and
Yes.
Tap Room.
Yep.
That's at 7. So 7 to 9. We try to be out by 9, but
Tap room. Do they have dancing there?
only if you want to bring your dance shoes.
I would.
You
I
can
would-
put some bottle caps on the bottom of your shoes.
Don't dance with the glass in your hand. It's a cidery, so like you get a glass of cider, and if you're dancing with the glass, you're gonna break it.
How would you break a glass just dancing with it?
Well, if you drop it.
Well, if you
What
drop
if it doesn't want to dance back?
That's where you use adhesives. You glue the glass to your hand. And then
Force
you
it
let-
to dance.
Oh no.
Who leads?
Who leads?
glass.
Yeah,
the
glass-
bartender.
The
The bartender leads.
Always.
Always.
And let's see, the 29th, we're going to be at the post, or you are going to be at the post. I'm not going to be there.
Sure you.
That's
sure you
another
don't wanna
7
be
to
there?
9. And it's the same painting.
Haha. It got requested a lot. A lot of people.
Well, it's a
wanted
great
to do
painting.
that
I
one,
like
so.
that painting. I've been thinking about doing a Jack painting for a while. I just haven't gotten around to it.
You should make a Mica version and throw it up.
Maybe.
We'll see what happens.
Something similar-ish. I don't know. Different colors. Got to be.
Totally.
And then the 22nd, you said you'll be back at Martin House, but we don't know what
Yeah.
you're painting yet.
January 22nd. For January, I'm going to be doing a winter fairy of my own design
winter
and making.
fairy.
Yep, a winter fairy.
Like,
Speaking of fairies,
Yes.
Maven's Moon.
Okay.
It's a place that I've started going to. It's in River Oaks.
Yeah, I know about Maven's Moon.
Yeah.
I know about Megan too. She's a pretty cool cat.
Yes, and she talks a lot about fairies.
Ah.
And she has a beautiful backyard that is devoted to,
fairies?
yes, to honoring fairies. I was there last night, and we had Megan conducted a Christmas class in which we talked about the Christmas and how it evolved and some of the traditions about it. And then we made Christmas wreaths. And that was a lot of fun.
You sent me a
enjoyed it.
picture of that wreath.
I
and
did.
It's actually really cool how you did it. It looks like you took a can.
Yeah.
And you got some ornamental Christmas balls.
Yeah.
With wood, and you've got the foliage coming up above the can. With it's very ornate, and very unique.
That's not wood. That's actually
Not wood.
It's a cardboard spool
A cardboard
that
spool.
that string is wrapped around.
Oh, okay.
And it was an empty spool, and I thought, well, let's use that.
Wow. So this is Matt proving once again that you can make art using any material on Earth. Any material found, you can pick it up and turn it into something. Keep that in mind.
And really, you could do it with materials found besides places on Earth.
True. Like
I don't think we need to limit ourselves to just Earth.
Right. Oh no, not at all.
Those
So
are the best.
the cool thing about that is we just went through a really ridiculously crazy meteor shower, and a lot of people in this area were seeing green meteorites. Green meteorites. I saw one myself when I was leaving the Bullen Bush.
Sure that wasn't the shrooms?
I'm pretty sure. I've actually never done that. So, no.
You would.
You would. You're not wrong. I'm curious. There's artistic implications to
Aren't
that.
they supposed to be other colors than just green, though?
Right, but a lot of people were seeing green, and I have to wonder if that has to do with like the nickel content. If like when they hit our atmosphere, the nickel is what causes that color.
I don't know. Try lighting some nickel on fire.
I don't know. I had to ask you because you're a glass artist, and I have to wonder if you've seen any interesting flame colors when you're creating.
Everything looks hot like fire.
It looks like molten fire. Got it.
I like burning
imagine staring
magnesium.
into a volcano. That's about it.
Oh, good. Oh, wow.
You gotta wear special glasses.
Lordy.
'Cause, sodium flare and UV is bad for your eyes. You will go blind.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, we wouldn't want it. We wouldn't want that. No, I remember my dad doing a lot of welding art. Like
Yeah.
he would weld cans and
Yeah.
make pieces out of metal. You'd probably get along with him for that reason alone.
Now, what's this guy's name?
Leslie Morris, my father.
Leslie Morris, okay.
He used to make artwork out of metal and found objects. So you would probably get along with him. But yeah, he would have to wear a big welder's hood with just this little tiny window. And I always thought he looked like a supervillain coming at me with a fire stick, you know. But yeah, it's an interesting process when you're working with flames. Might be doing a bit of that myself coming up soon. So
I like burning stuff.
I know you do. In fact, I might actually have you guys help me with this next gig that I'm doing.
Burning stuff?
No. It's a bit of a surprise. So there was an article that popped up for me on Facebook not too long ago, and it was about a lady named Diane Wilson who won a huge settlement against a plastic company called Formosa. Well, I just kind of got a wild hair and I said, you know, what are you doing with those plastic pellets? I found her on Facebook and I asked, and she said, well, I've just kept them, you know, in my attic for a while. I'm like, well, would it be intrusive of me to ask you to send me, you're good, open the can, Mike, it's cool.
Mike, do you need a church key?
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, I was like, yeah, go ahead and send those to me. I want to make a public art piece out of them. So these are plastic pellets that she's gone out and she's harvested from the Texas Gulf that have just been dumped into the waterways out there. And there's just bags upon bags upon bags of them. So I want to make a series of 3 art pieces out of them. Public art pieces that will not decay in the weather, just statement pieces about what she did. And it was a surprise, but she's already sent them in the mail, and they should arrive next week sometime. So I don't know when those pieces are going to be finished, but I would like to employ each of you to help me with them if you're interested.
Okay.
Sounds fun.
But I'd like this to make a statement about the environment. And I do have a box of interesting, unique found objects that Rachel Eastman handed off to me. So I figure I could utilize those a bit. What do y'all think?
I like this idea. Could we make zilches out of these plastic things?
Zilches?
Zilches.
You'll have to explain what a zilch is.
I don't have to explain. Set fire to a garbage bag and see what happens.
That's like setting fire to Army men. When I was a kid, I used to do that, and they would scream as they dripped.
They would drip? Okay, that's okay.
I don't know why that just came to me, but it did.
Yeah.
It would scream as they...
So go ahead and burn up some garbage bags.
Okay, burn garbage bags. That's step one.
Never tried that. That sounds like fun, though.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm not a pyromaniac or anything.
Oh,
But
who would
I
be?
feel like there's a but at the end of that
Just play one on
sentence.
two.
Oh, could we bring some old rubber tires?
As long as it's not something that can like decay or weather. Seriously,
I don't think rubber tires decay
They
or
don't.
weather.
No, they don't.
You have to burn them.
you have to burn them.
Yeah. That
okay.
way you save them from getting into the environment.
Could be something. Could we find some old broken glass and incorporate that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Lots of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've been talking with a gentleman at the Fort Worth Community Arts Center, and he thinks that there's a couple places that these could go for a little while, just be set up there. So it's not a guarantee yet, but I'm working on it. So
Okay.
figured it would be a good idea to invite you fine people to help me with those.
Sounds fun.
Mm-hmm.
You just want me to lift stuff, don't you?
No. I want you to apply paint to things, Mike.
Oh, I like playing paint the stuff.
I know you do.
Body painting. I'm in.
Hey, that's a bit
I've been trying
too
to go to
public.
Miami for years to do that body painting thing. Just
When
set up
does
a little
that
booth.
happen?
We'll paint for free.
There's a body painting festival
Yeah,
in
they have a
Miami?
huge festival there. I think it's in September every year.
Wow. I know there's a chalk art festival that happens in Houston. So I don't know about the body painting festival, but not as much in that.
Do you paint cars?
Not physically cars, but paint pictures of cars. I'm into chrome. If it reflects and captures wavy, distorted visions.
Yes.
That's why I'm into cars and bikes. It's the chrome, or it's the reflective property of the paint.
And the shapes that the chrome reflection makes.
Yes.
I
Nice.
get
You can get
that.
very subliminal with some of it. That's most of my cigar art in the smoke has subliminals in it.
Wow.
Various body parts.
Various body parts.
Okay.
You had a thing with lips for a while too.
I still do lips.
You still do?
Yeah.
We've taught a couple of those classes, and they've been
The
pretty
bitey lip.
interesting.
Everybody loves the bitey lip. I'm doing a new series of lips, but it's more of an elation point.
Undulation? Is that what you said?
Yeah, so there's a photographer that took pictures of the female orgasm from the face.
Oh. Okay,
and
so
I
it's,
stumbled upon these, and I'm right there on those lips.
oh wow.
Who was the
Because,
photographer?
That I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
You
Okay.
have to look it up.
But his work really spoke to my vision,
Right.
and I love lips anyway. So capturing that moment on canvas is like, yes.
Have you ever tried to paint anything like that, Mica?
No,
No.
Try to do that with some
Like,
glass.
that'd be difficult.
That would be difficult, but it would be interesting to see.
Sculpting in glass is difficult.
But
Just
that's
in
not
general.
that's not all that you do though. So like you also paint. I've seen some of your
Yeah.
pieces before. I think we got him thinking.
If it can be done, you can do it, man. I have faith.
Theoretically.
Theoretically, right. All right. So I think we're at a point where we can just go ahead and throw out some shout outs. What do you guys think? Shout outs to artists that we know in the Fort Worth area who deserve a little bit of recognition. I'm going to go ahead and throw out Jackdaw Folk Art.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he's
I
really
was
good.
thinking
He's
of him.
a lino cut artist, and
Yes.
you can find him on Facebook. Just look up Jackdaw Folk Art. What about you, Matt? You got any shout outs?
See, Jeremy Biggers,
Jeremy Biggers, what does he do?
he has a show. It's ending in the next day or two. He's been making art for several years,
Wow.
and he's beginning to get some recognition now.
Recognition. What
which
kind
is
of art
good.
does he make?
He does painting. He does work with found objects as well,
Interesting.
and he is a very, very talented artist.
Wow. Where can we find him at?
Oh boy, you'll have to look it up on whatever computer,
Facebook or just
telephone,
Google
whatever
him?
you're using.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike? Got any shout outs?
Yeah, I was trying to find this lady's Facebook page real quick.
Oh, you're good.
It's K-Jack Art.
K-Jack Art.
Yeah, I know you've seen her work because she's all over Art Chicago, has been for years.
Yeah.
She's the one that got me thinking about doing art with bottle caps. But as it turns out, bottle caps are 1 inch by 1 inch. So to do the piece the way I want to do it, which is to not deform the bottle cap, would take a massive wall of 10 feet by 10 feet or 12 feet by 12 feet. You can imagine how heavy this piece is going to be.
Oh, wow.
She does that idea with cigar bands. She makes portraits with cigar bands, and she does not paint her cigar bands. She sorts them and cuts them and puts them
uses
into
the bands themselves to make this. Wow.
that is her medium. So she's using that to create portraits, and she does some really cool work.
Heck yeah. Where can we find her?
She's on Facebook.
Facebook?
And it's
K-Jack
K-Jack Art.
Art.
I'm trying to find it right now,
Okay. Well, when you find it, just holler it.
but if you'll see her, her stuff's all over the place.
And
You go
if she's
to-
been in the Arts Goggle, I'm sure if you just
She's been there
Googled
lots of
K-Jack
times.
Art, you'd be able to find her.
Yeah, and let's see, where was she at? She's in Michael's Cigars a lot. So
Oh, okay.
she'll do printed pieces there. She'll hang them up. Not very many
Michael's
originals.
Cigars and Keller
Yeah,
Okay.
and there's one in Euless.
and Euless. Okay.
Yeah. But
Gotcha.
a cigar shop, you typically will see something she's done there. Very cool art. I
Nice.
love it.
And what about you, Micah?
I'd like to shout out Aaron Hutt's art, Solstice Snakes on Instagram, and also Juan Cornejo, who is Project Zero on Instagram and Facebook.
Heck
Because they're
yeah.
both cool people.
They really are. They really are. And we actually had Juan Corneo on the show recently, and that was actually like our third show in, and he had a lot of really good stuff to say about building shows and the process it takes and what goes into it. So definitely check those two out. And Aaron Hutz, he's a well-known artist. I've done about 12 shows with him. So yeah, he's all over it. In fact, I have to give him his easels back. Shout out, Aaron. I got your easels.
Didn't Aaron have some work at our...
He did.
Yes, he did.
He was set up right across from me, and that's why I need to give him his easels back.
Her name's Kim Jack.
Kim Jack, okay. And kimjack.com or kjack?
This is her website, so
Okay.
kjack. I
So
think it's kimjackart.
kimjackart.com, okay. Interesting.
You had said something
work's amazing.
about Rachel Eastman getting a bunch of plastic?
No. So what it is, I'm getting plastic pellets that a lady
Okay.
collected in a settlement. She collected these and then got a settlement with a large plastic company called Formosa.
So Formosa gave her all these plastic pellets? as
No,
the-
they dumped those plastic pellets into our waterways here in Texas. And she was
Plastic
collecting
floats.
them, and she got with an environmental group and
Okay.
sued that company for destroying the environment.
Can I get a cut of this action?
You can, absolutely.
Ah.
That's why they're sending it here. We're 3 local artists. Me and Mike hail over from the Keller side of town. You hail
North
over
side.
from North side. Hey.
Arlington.
Arlington, and then of course you're over off of El Campo. You're the Grackle, and then I kind of shift all over the place. So I think we could make this work. We're from different areas in the city, and we're all Texas-based artists. But I think that would be a really good project to kind of ignite some interest in that case. Not only that case, but in preserving the environment and recycling found objects.
Oh, there is a place I'd like to plug.
Yeah, what's up?
The Dock Bookshop.
Yes, I love the dock.
It's at the corner of Handley and Meadowbrook Drive in southeast Fort Worth in a strip shopping center. The Dock Bookshop is a local, privately owned bookstore. Every Tuesday night, the Dock has open mic, poetry, spoken word, performance.
Nice.
It's a really nice place to go.
Very nice. Heck yeah. Guys, if you haven't been to the Dock Bookshop, there's a lot of spoken word artists who have come out of there that have kind of moved on to do like musical transition from spoken word to being a musician, basically. And it's really interesting to see their progress and kind of map it.
There's 2 people in particular that come to mind. A. Michael E.
A. Michael E.
and Chef D.
Chef D. Who is Chef D?
Chef D, he's a rapper, a musician.
Okay.
And then A. Michael Lee is a singer, songwriter, musician.
Wow. Nice.
Both of them have performed, continue to perform at the Dock, and they've also branched out into other areas.
Wow.
And they use the Dock as a springboard.
Interesting.
Yes.
And the thing I love about spoken word is that a lot of the people who participate in this kind of art style, they do it because they've been through something. They use it to manage their emotions. It's a little bit like what we do as artists. We go out and
Yes.
we use our art to manage our emotions and to escape a little bit of the reality that's around us. Or we just do it for fun.
And also to come to terms with our reality.
Right.
Yeah, so I can't paint unless I'm in a good space.
Right.
When I'm in a bad space, I play music or I write,
That makes sense.
and I get
makes
through
sense.
that. Then when I'm happy again, I can paint.
Right. That makes perfect sense.
And I've tried to
actually.
paint when I'm not happy, and it just does not work.
I've found that doing like an abstract work seems to be good for like when you're unhappy. What do you think?
I'm kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
Different emotions make the art style of whatever I'm working different. And it's just like, I tend towards stuff that's figurative and kind of expressionist, so not super real.
That
So
makes sense.
not super realistic,
But that's the
it's
good thing
on a
of
spectrum.
Right,
It's just kind of like
yeah.
for me, when I was in a bad space growing up, art was just kind of like one of those things to help me vent those emotions that I was dealing with.
right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
This reminds me of another singer-songwriter who's at the Dock who is venting those emotions. Tim Cruz.
Tim Cruz.
Tim
Why
Cruz.
does that sound familiar?
Yes.
I've heard of him.
And he is pretty much a regular there now.
Was he there the last night that I went? You were there, so I mean,
I believe he was there.
think
Yes.
so? Okay, that's probably why he sounds familiar.
Yes.
He
Tim
does.
Cruz.
He does pretty good work.
Yes, he does.
It's really interesting. Art and music kind of go hand in hand.
They definitely go hand in hand.
They're-
That's why at the Grackle we have both visual art and musical art.
Agreed.
Yes.
It's excellent. What do you think, Mike?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. In fact, some of my favorite paintings are the local musicians that I've chosen to paint. If they speak to me through their music, I sometimes will capture them on canvas.
Can you name a few?
Michael Lee, Back in Black, Canyon Kafer. He's a
Yes.
bassist. Love that dude. He speaks to me through that bass like nobody else. And I've got a few others that I've been wanting to do. I just haven't gotten around to do them.
Right. Right. And I've always found like just going to some of the music events here in Fort Worth, I've bringing my supplies with me and just working on stuff while I listen to the music going on around me. It's like it creates a flow, and I'm able to just get whatever I'm feeling or whatever I'm trying to do out onto the canvas, and it works. It really, really works. So like, here's an art challenge. I challenge one of the artists out there who might be tuning in to go out and grab their supplies and go to a concert. Set up on a back table and just listen to what's going on around you and just create something. See what happens.
Yeah, that would be total abstract for me.
That's okay. It could be abstract, but see what happens.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I think it's a good one. What about you, Matt? Do you have an art challenge? Could be anything.
Let me see. Picking up stuff off the streets.
Okay.
As much as I encourage people to litter as a way of providing art material, we must also make use of that litter so that people don't litter for no good reason.
Guys, just donate your trash to Matt Sachs at the Grackle Art Gallery.
Now you can't donate direct. You cannot donate it directly.
Oh, okay.
You have to do it legitimately. You
Okay,
have
so
to
leave
litter.
it on the sidewalk so he can go pick it up.
You have to litter, otherwise it's not legit.
Oh, I love it.
I don't think there's any shortage of that.
Let's hope not.
Okay, we're being terrible influences on the environment. I'm
No,
like,
we're
let's do
not.
this big art piece about the environment. Now, real quick, Matt, go encourage everybody to litter so you can pick up their stuff.
And throw it away in front of a cop.
Oh, Lord.
Well, let's use our
we go.
discretion. They have better things to do than mess with us for littering.
Some of them don't. Have you been to Keller lately?
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. All right, so I had one more shout out to toss out into the wind, and this was Sarah Ayala. She just got a little spot in the 76107 magazine. It's in the November-December issue, and there's very few of those magazines left, but if you see one, definitely flip it open and read her article. She does a lot of multimedia work with maps and mandalas, and her style is really unique, so definitely check it out.
Yeah.
You had a thought there. You got real excited, Matt.
Sarah Ayala, I've heard of her. I've seen her work. I've heard her work. So yes, I'm glad
Yes.
that's happening.
Heck yeah. And
Yes.
she's got some work set up at the Fort Worth Community Arts Center as well. She's in that collective takeover show. So,
Good.
yeah. Well, all right. Well, I think that about does it. Thank you guys so much for coming in. Thank you to Mica of
Yeah, thanks for
Darkhaus
bringing
Art.
us out on a cold, rainy Friday night
Hey, you got
into the traffic.
into the traffic.
And
No, traffic was
thank
pretty
you
terrible.
to this location for
Yeah.
letting us
Yes.
be here.
Putting up
Thank
with
you
us.
guys so much.
The name of
Thank
this-
you
the name of
to
this
the
place is-
Leaves Book and Tea Shop for hosting this episode of Articulation.
And the lady behind the counter?
Cora, you rock.
Thank you.
Did we pick her up saying that?
She will grind you a special leaf.
Yay! May you brew us special leaves for many days to come.
Art 30, happy hour with happy endings.
Yeah. That's the slogan though. Also, we will paint for beer. And this is me and Matt reminding all of the artists out there to support local.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you don't buy our stuff, nobody will.
Right. Well, exactly. All right. I'll see y'all next time.
All right.
Articulation is brought to you by the Funkytown Network. Sponsored by Lee's Book and Tea Shop. Please visit them at 120 St. Louis Avenue, Fort Worth, Texas.